Hello and welcome to the Talking Wednesday. It is me, PunkChef41, joined by Wilco. Jack's come on this episode today, and we're going to talk about all things Wednesday like we always do. But before we start, remember the socials, remember the Discord, remember the memberships as well. There's a video on there at the moment that Dex have put out. I think we're doing like monthly videos each, so it'll be interesting to see what happens. But how we normally start the show, how's your week been, Wilco?
A mixed bag, actually. So basically to start the episode off, right, and I think it's important to talk about mental health, because that was what David Stockdale came out and sort of said and everything. What would you say to the statement of the right person at the wrong time? Do you think that that's actually a thing, or do you think that that's just the biggest load of copium and it's never the wrong time if it's the right person? What do you think about that? Because I've had a little bit of a funny thing. Basically, last night is why before the show I was saying that I've not had much sleep the night before recording this episode because I was all like, stressed up and whatever else. Because a certain little thing happened with somebody that I discussed on a previous episode. And yes, so what would you say about that statement that, is that a thing? Is that not a thing?
I think it is a thing, but it also depends on what circumstances are involved as well. I think there is a case of being in the wrong place for the right person, headspace, and going from there. But it all depends on what circumstances are as well. So that makes a lot of sense why you haven't slept.
Because just to catch you up on that previous episode a while ago that I mentioned it, but the person whose ex-boyfriend popped up saying, "Oh, can we get back together because I miss you, yada yada yada." When you're scrolling through Instagram and you just get the little notification pop up and it's so and so has liked your post, but because of when that was posted and how long ago, this is so stupid that it's like looking into the metrics of this, right? But because of how long ago you posted said thing, and because of them liking it ages after anybody else has liked it, that they've had to search your name up to find that post. They've had to look you up and stalk you to find that post. And so this same person has done this to me, where they've liked my post, and it's thrown my head into a complete spin. And
which is understandable.
Yes, and it was Well, there we go. That's my week's been a mixed bag of all of that. It was great up until then. I was fully on the I don't want to date anybody because I'm great and I'm great on my own, and nobody's really worth my time right now is the kind of mentality I was in. And then something like this happens and it really throws a cat amongst the pigeons. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Throws the fox amongst the chickens and all that jazz. But yes, it's been all right, I think, roughly. How about you?
Good.
How about you, Jake?
I finally ordered the cooker top and it turned up. I'm just waiting till next week to get it installed because I hate February passion.
Now you're cooking on gas, quite literally.
No, we're not. We're on electric.
Oh.
We're electric. A lot of places won't actually install gas cooker tops anymore.
Oh, really?
We're trying to phase it out. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So I've got that all sorted, which I'm happy about. I've learned how to cook things a different way, which have been interesting. Making fried eggs on a sandwich toaster was fun and different, but I used my initiative, something I'm not used to doing. But it's been one of the weeks where everything's going right, but I'm also in that mindset of having to plan for half-term holidays, because that comes up not next week, the week after. So I'm having to work out what to do with her, what to take her out places so she doesn't have a boring half term. And I don't want to be stuck in front of the telly all day.
Our kids. Oh, yes. That wonderful thing that I don't want to worry about for another 7 years plus. Yes.
Yeah.
I can totally relate to this conversation. Yes.
And I want another one. But it's been good. It's been a busy week in terms of my channel. I did a 4-hour live stream on Tuesday, and I found out Darren Moore went home at 5 p.m. So I'm now starting to wonder if the person who is Darren Moore in our chat is actually Darren Moore. Because that's been something that's been playing on my mind a little bit. Because
that's been on my mind a little bit. Because actually, if that is him, then it's an absolute genius thing to act like it's a parody. You know what I mean? But then if it isn't him, then you've got it nailed to a T. But can you imagine if that's actually him? Because the photos you see of him that are taken from like his personal circumstances, etc., are the exact sort of photos and quality everything that Darren Moore account has.
You've been going down a rabbit hole again and searching these things, haven't you?
Yes, I have.
But on more good news, let's talk about Saturday game. We're recording this on a Sunday for a change. And do you want to start this one off? Because it's interesting.
Well, you see, Jake and I were sat there in a Discord call while this match was going on, just kind of throwing points back and forth. And, while I was manning the Twitter account. And as you can tell by the tweets that happened later on in the second half, oh boy, it was a spicy affair because, I think a lot of people were either nervous or excited going into this one because of how much it meant that we were going to be top of the league or whatever. And then from the stats as well, it was clear that Plymouth tried to have more possession, especially in the first half, but we were a lot more clinical with our possession and a lot more effective with that. And then, of course, it sadly, it all got overshadowed by an absolutely abysmal refereeing performance.
Yeah.
Where
Let's talk about the first goal, shall we? Because we started the traps really fast in this game. We came at home and we thought, let's go for it. And it's been a weird week for Callum Patterson and it's been a weird month. But I think for him to get that goal said a lot about where his attitude and mentality is.
Yeah. And you even saw
right wing back.
And he played at right wing back. And I think that played a part in why he got the muscle injury. Because I think he's done more running up and down that wing than he probably has. Because like when you're up front, you run far less. You're like, sure, you're sprinting in short spells, but you're actually sprinting and whatever for a much longer time when you're running up and down that wing and putting crosses in and whatever else. And on the mentality side as well, I saw after the game, I think a load of players went out for like a steak dinner or something because they were top of the league.
So he ran into Patterson, didn't they?
Someone ran into Patterson and he just seemed so chuffed, I guess.
Yeah.
That he's still here and he doesn't seem remotely awkward about interacting with fans still, even though there was all that talk about him going to Hearts and all that. And I just think he's settled here and he wants to stay here, quite frankly. He's reportedly been building a house somewhere around Sheffield or whatever. So,
we have got a story about it later, so we can talk about that. One of the things that was an advantage for us in this game was the two injuries for Plymouth. Michael Cooper going down, and then Gar before that. Two big players for them at the back, just completely out of the game, and it made you wonder. But also, 33,000 at Hillsborough. Now their max attendance at their home park is 16. Now, I don't know how much of this was a case of maybe a bigger crowd might have got to them with the noise because it was loud.
It was
very loud. And this whole thing, you look at the stats, 11 shots, 4 on target to their 9 and 1. And up until the second half, till they brought on Cosgrove and Hardy, they didn't really have any possession or any kind of momentum. And it seemed to, like Mate for them, their number 28, is very, very good at getting at people. He's on loan from Sunderland and he had a really good game. But while you were trying to figure things out and figure out where we're going watching this, you were like, how are we going to break this down? Because they were built really strong with how they were. And the referee bought a couple of free kicks from them a lot. It kept on being a bit of an issue. I thought some of our players were treading a fine line on the cards as well. Lots of silly yellow cards going past. I think Patterson got one for back chatting. Bannon got one. And also, let's just talk about the controversial thing in this game, right? So apparently, during the transfer market, we signed Aidan Flint and we bought VAR just for our stadium.
Oh, yeah.
No one else's.
Apparently.
Just our stadium. So we do make it 2-0. And we're like, we're celebrating. But all of 40 seconds for the linesman and the referee to have a conversation and look up at our big, massive scoreboard at the instant replay and go, oh, no, it's not a goal.
Even though it was a goal, because footage has also come out of the angle behind the goal showing that Gregory was actually nowhere near it.
Yeah.
And when I tell you that last night I was effectively turning into the Hulk. And I actually almost broke my keyboard when this happened. I went ballistic.
If you're in the Discord, there's a very good celebration from him.
Yes, if you are in the Dexterity Box Discord, you probably saw my little 4-second sound clip that I put in there of me just going mental, absolutely mental. And I just think, honestly, if this is the standard of professional refereeing in the United Kingdom, I am appalled about how this has been allowed to be the set standard. It doesn't matter about looking at the standard of the actual football being played in the Football League. That's improving great over time. Look at the refereeing. What the hell was that? You're not even allowed to correct a decision when you look at the instant replay. Are you kidding me? They looked at the instant replay of that disallowed goal and went, he might have touched it. There's a slim chance that he might have touched it. So no, we're going to disallow the goal for being offside, even though he jumped over the ball, so wasn't interfering with it, and B, he was nowhere near it in the first place. Yeah, sorry for the rant, but it's just...
No, it's a weird one, and this is a championship refereeing assistant as well.
A championship? Championship.
It's not like one of these ones where they come up from like League 2 to a non-league to do a game. This is a championship ref, and the thing is,
you'd think he'd previously refereed mostly like Chapeltown Athletic, not Charlton Athletic. You know what I mean?
Well, it reminds me of the story that happened. I think I can't remember what it was. I think it was Venezuela or somewhere like that. There was a referee and a fan that showed them their phone and said, "Look, this is it. I've recorded it." And he changed the decision on someone's phone. And this is like a non-league game or something stupid. The rule state you're not allowed to use something to change your decision at the current moment in time. We don't have VAR. VAR, there's lots of different angles. They had one angle. That shouldn't have happened. Liam Palmer turned around afterwards. I'm not going to talk about it because I'll get into trouble. Darren Moore kind of looked at it kind of in a Darren Moore kind of way, gone, probably is right to try and not cause it. But if you see the next images and footages that people are seeing, they'll see nowhere near it.
Yep.
But it doesn't change the matter of the result. The result in the end actually was brilliant for us. We'll talk about that, what it means for us as a club in a minute, but let's go through the games that have happened during the day. Cambridge 1, Ipswich 1, fantastic result for us. Bolton 1, Cheltenham 0, Bristol Rovers 0, MK Don 2. MK Don started to get a little bit of form here. Barnsley Portsmouth 1-1, Peterborough 2, Forest Green 0. Accrington Stanley 0, Lincoln City 3, and there was a red card in that. Not looking too good for Accrington Stanley at the minute. We'll have a look at that. Derby 5, Morecambe 0. Dot Morecambe 5. I think there were 5 games on the trot, not losing. So that
not a great day for not a great day for ex-Owl Liam Shaw either, because that's his team now, isn't it? So,
and I think that was also McGoldrick's 3rd hat trick of this season. Not bad for a player who never scored a hat trick until this season.
Yeah.
Sheffield Wednesday 1, Plymouth Argyle 0. Charlton 2, Exeter City 1. Burton 3, Fleetwood 2. And they went down to 10 men as well. Fleetwood. Shrewsbury Town 1, Oxford United 0. And Wickham 3, Port Vale 0. Looking at the teams at the minute, I think if you're going down the who might be sacked next, I think it'll be Carl Robinson at Oxford, not performing to where he should be. But let's look at the best bit of the whole of this.
I have to say, by the way, I got a little weird shiver down my spine when he said Fleetwood, because I want to forget that name. That name is cropping up too many times in our fixture calendar this year, and I don't like it.
It's not fun, is it?
No, it's not.
But looking at the table, Sheffield Wednesday are sitting top of the tree on goal difference, might add. 30 goals to Plymouth's 21. We've both got the same number of points.
Yes, we are sat top. Yes, we are, Jake. Yes, we are
top of the league, and we've got games in hand as well, which is handy as well when you're looking at it. And with equal the clean sheet records set by Kieran Westwood. And you can't really go like last time. That was Kieran Westwood's record. It's now Stockdale's and Dawson because they've both done superbly.
Yep.
Plymouth are on 61 on 21 goal difference. Ipswich are on 55 on 25. We're starting to see a little bit of a breakaway out of the third and fourth. I think it won't be long before top two are clear of third and fourth.
And of course, if you're playing the Puncture 41 superb drinking game,
yes,
it's time right now to take a sip because he said it again.
Indeed. And if you're looking at the bottom, it's not looking good for Forest Green. Minor 33 goal difference, 21 points. Accrington Stanley minor 20, 25. Cambridge United minor 23, 26. And Morecambe minor 14, 27. And Burton are on minus 19, 28. Who were starting to come out of that little bell. But all that matters for us is we're top at the minute and we just keep this roll going. Let's get into the news, shall we? Because it's been an interesting one, considering we were all expecting this one to be, we're going to talk about all the signings we've made and this and this. And Darren Moore was at home at 5 p.m.
Home at 5 p.m. So that could well have been him in the stream, you know?
Yes. So, Lee Gregory Sheffield Wednesday contract situation revealed after Al rebuffed League One rival January inquiry. This is from the start. There were reports last month that there was interest from both Championship and League One in the being forward, and the start is led to believe the Rams made contract on the out to inquire about his availability. Now, this makes sense. He'd been at Derby before. He played there, did really well, to be fair. Derby were told, however, that Gregors is not for sale given his importance to Darren Moore promotion bid at Hillsborough, with the 34-year-old set to play a big part in the second half of the season. Gregory recently entered into his last 6 months of deal, but the Star understands that there is a 1-year contract extension that would see him through to 2024 if exercised. The striker has already spoken passionate about his desire to remain in the city's hometown with Wednesday, saying there wouldn't even be a negotiation if it came to extending his stay with the Owls. Interesting that this got rebuffed and makes a lot of sense. And we're starting to come out with a lot of things about people's contracts who have got extension clauses. Now, I've seen some people talk about these going, they can only extend it if they agree to it. Well, no, the club can extend it even if the player doesn't want to, in a sense.
Yeah.
It's basically we can take that option. What do you think about this?
I mean, to start off with, Derby aren't allowed to spend any money. So any offer that they put in for him would have been, quite frankly, insulting because it wouldn't have been for any money, you know? Yep. They can't even pay loan fees. So what kind of... Oh, can we just have Lee Gregory? No, that's ridiculous. Can we just have him because, you know, he used to play for us? No. What kind of deal is that?
It sounds like one of those Facebook Market conversations. Is this available? Yes.
Yes.
Can I have it for this much? No, it says it's this much. Well, can I have it for this much, please?
But can I not just take it off your hands because we used to have him a few years ago? No, that's not how it works. If you want a player that's still in contract, you pay a sodding fee for them, you know?
Yeah. No, I understand it. And it's interesting because I've seen a lot of people say that if we go up, don't extend it. But I still think 35-year-old Lee Gregory in the Championship can still do a job.
And even then, if the deal was, we'll pay you X amount when this ban of paying any money is lifted at the end of the season, you promised to pay the tax man so much money, you promised to pay the EFL so much money, and you didn't do that, did you? And then look at all the mess that happened over the summer because of all of that. You know what I mean?
Checking the list now. Yeah, Derby County now on
Derby
the list.
County
Doesn't work out.
Charlton, Ipswich, Plymouth now, actually, because of...
He's making a list.
Oh, and I'm checking it twice. I knew you were going to make a Santa joke, even though it's the other side of Christmas. Oh.
But it's one of those ones where you see where we're at if we're turning around. Back in the day, I think Wednesday would have turned around and said, yeah, we're going to get rid of him. He's 34 and stuff like this. We want younger players. But I think there's an experience there with Darren Moore, knowing that you need to keep these players around in the dressing room. Like, Gregory's not started recently and not played. He'd not played great. I think he just needs that goal. I think once he gets that goal, we're going to have that Gregory from the end of last season who went on a run. He's one of those players, I think once he gets that one goal, you're sorted. He'll fly. And Gregory's shown what he can do for us. We know what he can do. You look at the forwards we got in it yesterday, him and Wilkes, who came on, they were superb together. And Wilkes is now starting to show what he can do in terms of his pace and just getting at players. I think the one thing he's missing is the confidence to take that shot on. Yesterday there was a couple of times where he could have just taken that shot first time and gone for it.
And he kept like, I wouldn't say panicking, but I think it was the stress of, oh my God, I'm through on goal.
Yeah.
And without, like, normally, I guess when you get in that position, you just go through with the shot. You don't think about it. But because he was thinking about it so much, he just kept trying to lay it off to someone else. And I think that's where it was falling short a little bit. But
I also think a little bit was also every time he got the ball, it didn't cut onto his right foot he liked to shoot with. So he kept on trying to get that position. But Gregory, for me, if we go up, I think it's a good idea to extend him for another season. We got this position. I think Byers have got one. We know Windass have got one. Barry Bannon got a clause in if he plays so many games, he's going to be fine.
I wonder if that's why he keeps, like, you know when say he's gone down with the injury and he's kept running and he's just kept going and he's like potentially even come back early. I think it's because he himself is desperate
wants that
contract extension with us because he doesn't want to leave. So
it's also seemed like yesterday when he went down, it wasn't any bad injury, he just got cramp.
Yeah, it was cramp,
which is good for us. I forgot to mention that in thing. But Lee Gregory, if it came to it, someone tried to confirm, and we basically said no.
Yes.
Do you want to do the story?
Actually, I will say as well, I'd stick Gregory on a coaching course and get him through his coaching badges because I think his mentality would be an excellent addition to like the coaching staff, maybe in the youth setup or in the under 21 level. Because honestly, we've just got Neil Thompson as the solid under 21s dedicated coach. All of the other coaches for that setup right now are just hopping between either the under 18s or it's Steve Haslam, the head of youth development, that keeps, helping out with that setup. There's no and Nicky Weaver, I guess, but he's the like under 18 coach, isn't he, for goalkeeping? So they're constantly flipping between the two of the teams.
So Nicky Weaver's head of academy goalkeeping and Neil Thompson's under 23 manager with Steve Haslam, the academy manager.
Yeah, so basically those coaches are handling both teams then, basically. And I just think...
You've got a head of coaching as well, Darryl Pugh. You've got a head of education, Dan Potts. You've got all the stuff that need to be there because lots of different things that need to
but again,
put in place.
I think Gregory's got a perfect mentality for coaching, and I just think that we need to start him on that path because I think he'd be perfect for it. And he wants to stay in Sheffield, so give him a job with the coaching setup. The same could even be said about Stockdale too, because he's in recent weeks has been acting like a coach, hasn't he? On the sidelines.
Good segue that, to be fair. The next one is about Stockdale. And Stockdale yesterday was, again, managing on the touchline. It seems like Darren Moore may have a little bit of a person ready for his backroom staff. But do you want to talk about this one?
Yeah, so... David Stockdale, he recently went on a radio Football Heaven show, and he was talking about mental health and things. But part of it as well was the fact that he's ended up losing his place to Cameron Dawson. So it never gets easier. David Stockdale opens up on Sheffield Wednesday selection disappointment, and this was from the Examiner Live. So the Owls goalkeeper started the season as a number one, but manager Darren Moore has recently chosen to go with Cameron Dawson as his stopper. Sheffield Wednesday goalkeeper David Stockdale has provided an insight into his mindset when it comes to the battle for the number one jersey at Hillsborough. The veteran stopper arrived at S6 in the summer on a free transfer and made a superb... Sorry, I'm just stopping to grin because it's Jake's favourite word. He's made a superb start to life with the Owls. He kept 11 clean sheets for Darren Moore's side before being surprisingly replaced by Cameron Dawson in December. Dawson has kept the shirt since then, with Stockdale having to bide his time on the bench. Speaking to I'm turning into Scooby-Doo there. Speaking to BBC oh, I can't. It's first thing in the morning, guys. I'm so
Radio
sorry.
Sheffield.
Yes.
There we go.
Speaking to BBC Radio Sheffield in a revealing interview, Stockdale said, on a personal level, we're friends. It wasn't Cam's decision to do that. I said to him, why should I jeopardize your career or happiness when it's just going to reflect badly on myself? I was once there, and it's like an elder person doing something to jeopardize me. I said I'd rather be known as an okay goalkeeper and a nice lad rather than a really good goalkeeper and a bit of a div. It's a good job I like, Cam, isn't it? He didn't laugh. That's what I was laughing at.
No, he did actually.
Anyway, well, he did. Oh, yeah. Nice. Realism, immersion. So the quote continues with, it never gets easier, and the day that I accept it is the day I shouldn't be playing. Like I said to Cam, I'm going to be hot on your heels, but I did an interview when he signed for the club. You can probably look back on it. I said whoever was playing, I'd be supportive. And at the end of the day, there's one thing we all want to do, and that's win promotion. End quote.
Yeah, the thing with Cameron and Stockdale, you see it in the training videos. The camaraderie. There's a weird relationship with goalkeepers because goalkeepers are insane. If you think about the past goalkeeper we had, Bywater, mentalist. Chris Kirtland, a bit of a know what to do. You know, we've had keepers who like Westwood as well. In the goalkeeping union, that whole kind of thing, they support one another because they know that only one of them can get the jersey.
Exactly.
It's not like a defender or midfielder where it can be swapped out. If you're doing well, you have to bide your time, like you said, and fight for it. Now, the thing you see in the training videos is the jokes that David Stockdale says to Cameron Dawes.
Oh, yeah.
And Charles Pearce are very interesting because you can see Pearce is like, I'm with the elder two. This is great. But then he'll hear the jokes and go, oh, okay. But you'll see Cam just like belly laugh. And I think the thing you've noticed, whenever there's a performance and at the end of every game, there's a massive bear hug from Stockdale to Cam and to his defenders. Like last week, there was a massive bear hug with Iorfa, who we know been going through stuff with his injury.
Yeah.
And I think you see that touchline now. It's Darren Moore and Jamie Smith, but it's now David Stockdale shouting or giving ideas or tips. And it's interesting to see that kind of going forward. And I think it was a really good interview for mental health and stuff. And I know you reached out to him and got a message back from him. And I know other people have reached out and got messages back from him. He's always been a down-to-earth lad. The way he talk to people is the way he treats you. It's like, I know someone who's a MK Don fan, and he kind of turned around and said, good luck in the final when Wickham kind of thing. Good luck in the final, did the usual. And he said, that was an unlucky game to be in for you. Good luck for next season. Sorry you didn't get to go to it, but that's football. But he's a very nice bloke who comes across as someone who gets it. He understands the side of football. And you got to remember, when you look at Stockdale, he's not just a footballer, he's a businessman.
He's a businessman.
Go to his website, look at some of the businesses he's got, look at what he does, look at how he does. I think he owns a football team, or he's part owner of one, which he helped sort out. And it's that interesting thing where I think we were very lucky to get Stockdale in, because starters last season, we were all thinking, right, Cameron's not ready yet, but he is ready. It was a one. We know he had a good season last season. He just needed someone who, like you said in the past, be a mentor. You said in the past that he's a bit of a mentor.
I think even though, sure, David Stockdale is what we call a veteran, he's like approaching, he's got many more games behind him than he has in front of him. To put it that way. Sorry, David, you know.
Knocko.
Yeah. But it's also shown a long-term vision from Darren Moore, I think, because it shows that maybe he does want to get him in a coaching, mentoring role, as well as the experienced goalkeeper for the first team, because that shows that he wants to, it's almost like Darren Moore himself wants to stick around here for a long, long time and wants to make sure that our club has got this long-term vision in mind, whereas in previous, under previous managers, it's just been a short-term, what's happening right now? What's going to happen in the next, I don't know, couple of games? That's it. There's no overarching vision whatsoever of the future. It's all just here and now. What's going to happen now? Who do we need to buy for right now, etc. It's just it. But now there's actually a long-term vision. There's somebody in who can be a mentor for the young goalkeepers, who's a future coach, who's got this leadership mentality and also a vision past football, I guess, you know?
And it's also when we go up, or when and if. I'm not...
You got to curse us, Jake. You got to curse us. You're tempting fate.
With how we're playing it, we are looking like we're going up. But
yes.
There's part of me that's like, is Cameron Dawson ready for Championship football? Probably not. This is where
I
you
disagree,
probably have...
but yes, carry on.
Where you might have again, where we have it, Stockdale starts, but Cameron Dawson buys his times and gets in again. You know what I mean? It's that situation. We might have the situation. But you say you think he's ready.
I think when he was even playing for us in the Championship, he was ready. Because when Steve Bruce was here, he showed that in spades, didn't he? But his biggest issue has always been self-confidence. And that's what let him down. And that's what made him get dropped originally when we were in the Championship, was because he was lacking in so much confidence. He was making errors based on confidence. It was the exact same for Joe Wildsmith as well. That was a self-confidence issue, because look at how amazing he's doing at Derby right now. And how brilliantly he was doing when Carlos was picking him in, say, the cup games against Arsenal. He was facing experienced Premier League forwards who weren't playing, who weren't lessening their effort levels, and he was dealing with them just fine. So I think Cameron Dawson is in the same boat where he's ready, he's fully ready, he's not lacking in that skill or anything.
He's 28.
It's just, he's 27, I think.
27, 28. Yeah. It's a good age for a keeper anyway, because he's got lots of years.
He's far behind he's like yet to reach his prime and everything. So
I think one of the things that he improved was his vocality.
Yes,
because he used to be quite quiet, and now you can see it. And
that's a confidence thing.
There's never been a situation of not being a good shot stopper. They said it backwards then. The one thing that I do have sometimes is with him, and I think it'll come again with just learning a bit more, is when he parries. But you notice our defence notice that he does parry a bit, and Palmer and Iorfa are quick onto that. And I think that's something, if your defence know what you're doing, kind of thing, it's okay. Kind of, they can fix it. But I thought it was a really good article and interview by David Stockdale, and he got a lot of plaudit from the club and other clubs. And at the end of the day, mental health is important. Remember to reach out, because if you don't reach out, you're biting your nose.
He said it in the interview himself. He was like, I'd rather know now if somebody's not doing well than turn up to say their funeral, and then people don't even realize then, because it's their own funeral, how many people actually cared about them because they didn't reach out and things. And also there was a lot of people turning around and saying to him, make sure you look after yourself as well. It's all very well and said you're saying this, but make sure you look after yourself as well as looking after other people. And I think sometimes when you're looking after other people, it gets your own kind of health and mental health go to the wayside. So very good article, and very good interview. I think it's a credit to Sheffield Wednesday to have someone like that. Yeah, he's a very good bloke to have in the club. We're very lucky that we've got him, I think. Yeah. So we spoke about this earlier. Sheffield Wednesday begin contract talk with 28-year-old January transfer target interest. Sheffield Wednesday had started talk with the versatile striker Callum Patterson over a new contract, and it had been claimed by the Football Insider. This is from the 72.co.uk. Sheffield Wednesday man Patterson remains in downward 13 picture for much of the season. He found increased game time since the start of December, playing a part of the last 8 League One games, now 9, after a patchy appearance until then. Question marks emerged over his future and struggles for game time until the recent run. In the side, former club put out publicly that they were interested in the Scot, and that move never materialised. Patterson's deal is up in the sun, and the uncertainty around his surrounding the long-term future. For me, this is one, and I said it before, he's only like 28. Yeah. He's still got loads of football. And
There's so many times people turn around and said, he doesn't offer nothing. He don't do this. What do we see in him? We saw in it yesterday.
We saw how much he offers yesterday.
Yeah, Saturday, he was played as a right wing back. The one thing Darren Moore loves is versatility in players. He just loves it. He's very happy with that kind of player who can play any position whenever needed. Like some players are like, well, that's not my position. I play striker or I play this. He just seemed to get on with it and just doesn't mind. Like if you actually look at, I think I've looked at Wikipedia in the past. It's something like utility player he marked down because he can play everywhere. Like it's one of those things where you see him play and when he gets going and having fun. Like yesterday, he had a smile on his face again. Yeah. And Patterson with a smile on his face is fun. And you saw it a couple of weeks ago when we played Fleetwood and we were on the way back. And they were doing the Instagram live stuff. And him saying, grown men on Instagram live, grow up. And that's the kind of camaraderie that's in this camp at the minute. And I think he's a big one as such as Stockdale. Because I think those two are big pranksters. But now you also look at now bringing Aidan Flint in, someone who he was with at Cardiff again. You've got another person who knows who he is, how he is. And Parsons never been one to shy away from talking to a referee. Can we put that as a nice way?
Yeah.
Him and Barry Bannon like to... Yeah. Barry Bannon and him like to do the Scottish way of talking. But it is interesting when you see when he plays. This season has showed us that he can play anywhere again. He come in and done a job without complaining. Like, he's another one who turned around and said, if a contract got put in front of me, I'll sign it. I want to stay here. I'm enjoying my football. He did say he wants to play more minutes. Fully enough, after that situation, Darren Moore might have heard that and gone, I'm going to put you in a bit more. But it's very hard for a player to get into this squad in the position he normally plays in, which is up top, when you've got Smith, Windass, Gregory, and Wilkes. But
don't forget as well, Patterson was in his career in Scotland. He was always in the right back position. That was his position. And then I think even Cardiff might have signed him on the basis of him being a right back. And then they discovered, he's actually all right, like in the attacking midfield and up top. So, like it wasn't like it was an alien position to him for him to play, really. But yeah, as you say, it's a fantastic player to have, really. And at the same time, he's the same age as Dawson, pretty much.
Yep.
Like, despite the grey hair, bless him, going grey a bit early, and despite the old man fishing habits and whatnot, no offence any fishermen out there listening to this.
You know Phil Foden likes fishing, right?
Good for him. Good for him.
And the thing is, if I think if he stays here and he does actually stay here, we may have to do a Halloween special and work will have to go grey.
Yes.
For the easy split.
I'll even do the mustache. I'll even do the mustache. I'll look more like, the dad from Inside Out.
Yeah.
The really depressed dad with the mustache and the facial stubble. That's who I'll look like if I do the mustache. Rather than Callum Patterson, I'll look like him instead. But yeah. Oh.
But Patterson staying here long term, I've got no issue with that.
Same.
He's a player who works hard, and the time where we've had him and he's the only one running at the keeper or running at players. He fits to force the Airy style mode, who will just run at everything and just not the thing. And like you said, I think the injury yesterday was the case. He was just doing so much running. But it was interesting. He was getting in spaces that he never really got in as a striker, but he did in this game where he would be open. So hopefully this isn't a long-term thing. Muscle injury can sometimes be, you've gone down, it hurt for a bit now, but a couple of days later, you're back and it's just kind of fixed itself. But
and even then, what a finish that was for his goal.
Time as well.
Oh, it was
superb.
Just super. There it is again. Take another sip.
He brought out the old celebration.
Take another sip, guys. If you're playing the drinking game at home, take another sip.
But he brought out the old celebration. To be fair, we haven't seen much new celebration because he said he would be looking at some, but I think he hasn't got.
He used to do the backflip like Volks, and he's not doing it.
Yeah, Maybe he got a bad back.
Yeah. Or maybe that has got some like sentimentality to him or something. I don't know.
But talking about players who play in different positions, this article goes nicely into it. This is from the Examiner Live. Made me think, wow, Akinfenwa makes a mission over Sheffield Wednesday pair. Sheffield Wednesday, Akinfenwa spoke of his desire to pick up as much knowledge in the art of defending as possible. The 24-year-old is making up for lost time, having sustained an injury on debut back in August. It would have been 5 months before he eventually made his return to action, and since then he played a key part of the Owls' resilient defence since starting the last 3 games and aiding in 2 shutouts. Liam Palmer and Reece James have both excelled this season, performing in both their traditional fullback roles and also centre-back, and Fenway described how he constantly picking their brains. He told Yorkshire Live, "You've seen recently in both filling different positions that made me think, wow, these guys are serious. They can do a job. It's great to have them around and learn from them." It's been speaking to Reece recently and asking, "You see the ball in what position, in this position, and what are the first pictures you see?" It's about learning from each other. Palms is the same. I watch him a lot in training and he's always very technical, and much as they are competitive, it's good to learn off these players. Fenway thinks more policy, rapidly chopping and changing the lineup keeps his players on his toes, aimed for the promotion push. Ahead of Saturday's Monster, which are played, meeting at home against leaders at Plymouth Argyle, first say you shouldn't go into a training session or weekend thinking you're definitely going to start. This is how complacency sets in. And so I understand why the manager does this. Interesting, because there have been talk from people in the past saying Darren Moore chops and changes it too much. He doesn't keep a settled side too much. But again, this is going into that learning about Darren Moore's thing about playing in different positions. He wants players to learn and keep growing.
And at the same time, the people making these criticisms are just backseaters. That they will find something wrong with everything that somebody does, but they're not also, respectfully, they're not there on the training ground watching these people train. They're not there on the match days, on the touchline, getting the information from the other coaches, but this sort of mentality is the exact sort of mentality that we were missing a few years ago, where like everybody was just their own, I'm effectively a mercenary attitude of I don't care anything about what I'm doing here other than the money. And that's
it's interesting you say that, because
this guy wants to learn. He wants to better himself. And this, having that dogged mentality of working hard and learning everything you can all the time is what will set apart the great players from the okay players. And with the amount of potential that this lad's shown so far, I can only see him being an outstanding player in the future, quite frankly.
Absolute steal as well.
For only 60 grand. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. And it's also you look at what Aidan Flint said about the mentality. The mentality was different in the dressing room when he came here last time. He said it's different now. And it's interesting. You've got a player who came during that season when he'd never played in front of fans. Let's just remember this a little bit. Aidan Flint came here when we were in the virus phase, no fans in. Yesterday was his full 13 from the start debut to 33,000 fans. It says a lot, and it's we were gutted when he got injured because in that NK Don match he looked superb, but he come back, he looked stronger, he looked better, and I think you look at the whole thing he said about Palmer being a very technical player. People don't see Palmer as that, but you look when he plays, he's very good with the ball and he knows when to run. And the one thing that has happened since Darren Moore come in, Liam Palmer got a whip on him now that can get a ball into a box, which was one of the biggest criticisms some people had, that he couldn't cross the ball well. And if we're bringing these players in to learn, if we can have another player who can play right back, left back, centre back, it means someone else can slot in if need be. And it's always interesting having players that can slot into that position. Like Johnson isn't the best wing back, but he can do the job.
Yeah.
And he does well.
But he's more of a left winger anyway, and we know that, and we've said it for God knows how long.
but at the same time, you've got players who will come, if he can't get better defensively, you'll have one of the centre-back come out and then somebody else will cover, which is something where we do lack, but you've got the confidence in that player to cover. Like, Iorfa coming back had been superb. That defence recently, you look at that defence, I offer Flint at the back. I think Flint had the most headers yesterday. And like one of them, he headed from his own box to like the halfway line. This is something that, and people have said in the past, Darren Moore's a defender, why are we shipping so many goals? This season, he's gone for making us defensively strong. He's gone for, and I know people are like annoyed that we're not scoring enough, but that'll come. It will come. But yeah, I like the mentality of this. I like seeing that they're going to having players still wanting to learn and wanting to improve. It shows a belief in what Darren Moore's doing. It shows a belief what the players are doing. And him going to experienced pros and saying, how do you do that? What's the best position? It shows a maturity.
And again, just to give like more of a scope of the big picture, so to speak, since Darren Moore came in, the biggest thing people were talking about in like the relegation season and the couple of seasons, in between losing to Huddersfield in the playoff semis and getting relegated was the mentality. That was the biggest thing that everybody was criticizing all the time, is that it was a team of individuals and there was no team spirit, and there was clearly, cliques and all that sort of thing, and there was not a lot of team cohesion and not a lot of all collectively working towards a big picture. It's totally the opposite now. Everybody's in it together. There's a camaraderie that's not been seen for quite a number of years. Obviously, it started last year. The camaraderie was great last year, and that's only developed this year, and that's all thanks to what Darren Moore is doing in this sort of big picture sense. I think it's very easy for a lot of fans to just get locked into the here and now and we've not scored enough goals in the last 2 weeks, 2 months, whatever. That's not good enough. But you've got to think as well in the big picture sense that this club is getting so much better compared to the state it was in a few years ago, and that was probably one of the primary things that Darren Moore wanted to do and what the chairman wanted Darren Moore to come in and do,
Well, he came in and changed the culture. And
exactly. And that's,
I think if I remember correctly, like he said 3 days into the job, he knew what was wrong immediately.
Yep.
And that says a lot about Darren Moore as a man that knows what's wrong and how I need to fix this. But he's also not stupid to know that he can't do that in a day. He knows that needs to be done over time. And I think you're seeing that. You're seeing all the interviews he's done recently, the ITV one, very good interview. It was very interesting to hear what Darren Moore's like.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, we do have some players who have left Wednesday, though. David
Agbontohona. Agbontohoma. There you go.
I don't need to learn his name. Had joined Bournemouth on a permanent transfer. He'd never been on loan with the National League outfit over the past month. He got Player of the Month after we kind of hijacked the votes, the Wednesday fans. In total, centre-back made 14 appearances for the Owls, all coming at the Papa John Trophy, including 2 outings this season against Bradford and Leicester City's under 21. We'd like to thank David for his service and wish him all the best for his next chapter of his career. Now, a lot of people were annoyed by this one. They were asking, what are we doing? Darren Moore came out and said, at the rate he's going, there's no point us playing him in under 23 football now. He's ready to be in with other teams and playing first team. And also, if you look where he's from Southwick. He's from Southwick, and Boreham Wood is like 45 minutes away, an hour away. If he's still got family down there, because he was only at Southampton, I want to say, when we signed him originally.
Yes, he was. Yeah, Southampton.
So if he's a down south lad, if this makes it easy, close to family and stuff, good luck to him. He did show lots of promise, and I can understand why people were annoyed. But you've also got to think, Darren Moore thinking about the player as well, not the club. If they think this is as far he got and we're not going to see him in the first 11 anytime soon, let him go. And it's just one of those things that happens in football.
It's what happened with Alex Hunt as well. Same sort of story. And I think, because obviously he actually did play in that, it was the Bradford City game, I think. And I just remember sort of, technically, he was great. He was already, I thought, from a technical standpoint, but it's his reading of the game didn't seem quite at like League One level yet. And I think maybe that's possibly a factor that influenced him being allowed to be, to go on a permanent transfer. And we'll probably see him, quite frankly, in a couple of years' time in the Football League, in the League 2 or League 1 at some point.
He's in League 2.
Is it?
He only went to Grimby.
No, I'm talking about David.
Oh, David. Sorry, I thought you were on about Hunt. Sorry. you probably will. It's just,
but
it's
what I've said was the same about Alex Hunt, though. Really, it was his reading of the game too. But yeah, sorry to interrupt, but yeah, it was the same sort of thing there. But
so it'll be interesting to see what he does next. But good luck to him, and hopefully we will see more in the future. And good luck to you down at Burnwood. We have a player who's gone out on loan. Jackson joined Henderforth.
Hensford, maybe.
Henford on loan.
Sorry,
Jackson
Hensford Town, if that's not
join.
Correct.
Yeah, will join. Jackson joined the Isles in 2018, signed a professional terms in 2020. He will head out and gain a further senior appearance with the Southern League Premier Division Central side. 20-year-old is eligible for their Saturday home game as they travel to Bromson Grove Sporting. Good luck to him. These loans help players progress and do better. So hopefully we can see him improve. And yeah, it's similar to what Gavelin's done out on loan as well. So we'll see what happens. So we got...
I will say it's quite interesting though, because they seem to be taking almost like... So for those of you that know cricket, right? So the county sides, like say Yorkshire, whatever, will send their youth players out to teams in like the amateur Premier Division or whatever to get the experience. And it's just really strange seeing us Sheffield Wednesday Football Club effectively do the same thing in the last year or two, where they're not actually, like, they could be sending them to the National League. I would probably say that maybe they need to be sent to the National League, but it's really interesting that they're sending them like a good chunk down the football pyramid, even below the National League, to like the semi-professional levels. And I just wonder why that is. I'm just not in a criticism way, just like a sort of, it's just interesting to see that they're being
the whole case
sent so far down that way.
That it's sending them to get rough and tough by some big lads.
Yeah.
Like, you want them to get
lumps kicked out of them, basically.
Yeah, literally, yeah. Because I think that's how they learn, if they get lumps kicked out of them. Like, I still don't think this whole academy model works that well. I still think the reserve model from back in the day worked a lot better, where you will play a reserve team instead of the academy thing. But this is how it's gone, sadly. So we have games this week, and first one I'm going to talk about, we played them. This will be our fourth time playing them now. So we got to go back to Highbury and play Fleetwood Town in the FA Cup. So their record is 6, 11, 11, 29 points per game. These doesn't really matter because it's the FA Cup game, but I'm going to talk about it anyway. Home record is 2, 5, 7, 11 points. Away record is 4, 6, 4, 18. 31 goals, 1.11 per game. Goals against 33, 1.18 per game. And they lost at the weekend 3-2 to Burton. I'm conflicted about this, Jack. I'm really conflicted. I don't really want a cup run, but I want to keep our unbeaten record going.
Yeah. And the thing is, right, the further we get in the FA Cup, the more publicity we get. And I think, given that in the season we got relegated, the only publicity we were getting was effectively hit pieces on the chairman and just national ridicule. The better we do in all of these competitions or whatever, the more positive press gets out there. And that can only be good for us, because I'm sick and tired of seeing players get, and whoever the heck else, even Ryan Reynolds did it, get interviewed on the television and they call Sheffield United Sheffield just because they had 2 sodding plastic years in the Premier League. And now everybody's just calling Sheffield United Sheffield as though they're the only sodding team in the Football League from Sheffield, and forgetting about the more historic club that's fallen on hard times. And I'm sick of it, Jake. I'm sick of it.
To be fair, Sheffield United fans get annoyed by it as well.
Yes.
They're
I know.
us, so it's a fan too. I do know what you mean, though.
But you would again. They're obviously getting annoyed from the perspective of you wouldn't call Manchester United or Manchester City Manchester. You know. But my perspective is, give us some goddamn respect. Stop discounting us anyway. Yes.
It'll be interesting because I don't want to cut run. I do want to cut run, but I want to keep the unbeaten thing going. Just get it done in full time. That's all I ask Wednesday on Tuesday.
Please.
Get it done in full time. I do not need penalties. The lad don't need extra time. We just need to get it done and move on to the next game. And it's the town derbies this week because we got Ipswich Town on Saturday away. So their record at home is 50. Their record in general is 15-10-4, 55 points. They score 1.90 per game. They are third in the league at the minute. There's a bit of a drop off. Go to what you said about gelling a couple of weeks ago. Not gel quite that much with all what they brought in. Yep. Their home record 8-5-1. They got 29 points. Away record is 7-5-3, which is 26. They got 54 goals, 1.8 per game. Goals against is 29, 1 point per game. 25 goal difference. Their last game was a draw versus Cambridge United, and they are also in the cup this week. So we're all in the same kind of boat with this one. This game's going to be interesting because they won't want to go to 90 and extra time either. So it's interesting that we've got this match coming up and both teams are still in the cup, and interesting to see what happens. I just want to see what our stats are away. I mean, I thought, I'm pretty sure it's pretty good. Have a look.
I mean, it will be quite an interesting game in the respect of, I wonder what's going to happen this time. Such as, to be honest, they're already commemorating forever on the side of their stadium a 1-1 draw with us. So we're already living rent-free in their friggin' heads every time they look outside the ground. So what's going to happen this game to get a commemoration plaque? If they finish third in the league behind us, are they going to be like, we finished so many points behind Sheffield Wednesday?
They got to be careful because Derby coming.
They're already on my list, so I'm not holding back this time.
So our away record is 27 points, 8-3-2. So that's decent. And they're not particularly great at the minute. No. And this is a perfect example for to go there, get a win, get out of Dodge, and move on to the next game. Because we need to get most of these games out the way as such, because we got the next couple of games are 2-game weeks. So we've got we've got Morecambe at home, and then we've got MK Dons at home.
Personally, I think the best way to beat Ipswich, I know sure it might not be the most exciting way of playing it, but is to effectively let them have more of the ball, because they will make more mistakes given how lack of a gelling there is because of all these new players. They will be making loads of mistakes in passing. They'll be underhitting it, overhitting it, not knowing when people are making runs, all that sort of thing. And that's the perfect chance to pounce and issue a big counter-attack and score. And I know it won't be, possibly it might not be the most exciting, but at the same time, it will be more of a chance of winning the game. Do you know what I mean?
I know what you mean. It's one of these things, when I saw these two fixtures pop up, I thought, get 4 points from it and I'd be happy, kind of thing. Now, ideally, you don't want that because it's only goal difference for a head by with Plymouth, and I think Plymouth's next game is at home. If I might be wrong, if that's the case, they got a great record at home, so we have to err on the side of caution with that. But great opportunity to just make some more ground and points going forward, and we need to start getting some players back, hopefully, and see what happens there. But at the end of the day, it's a great. We've had a really good January, February. We don't normally have a good January after Christmas. Like, the mentality shifted again. So, have you got anything to add here? Because that's all I've got in the document.
Well, the thing is, it's actually really nice to see us continuing this run of form, because normally this is the time of year when, like, you can tell within the first few weeks after January, or in the month of January, you can tell what teams are going to drop off and what teams are going to push on. And it's so nice to see that we've just carried this good form on from before Christmas, and it doesn't look like the train's stopping anytime soon, you know? And as well, and also, I'm not really all that, after seeing the performance yesterday, I'm not that worried at the fact that we only signed Aiden Flint in January. I'm not at all worried in our squad depth, whatever, because everybody was saying we've got a threadbare defense, whatever else. Look at the performance yesterday. It was great. Despite having this threadbare defense and a lack of squad depth, or whatever headlines or Twitter tweets to get likes people want to throw out there saying the opposite, we carried on regardless and we won the game, and we should have won by more than 1-0, quite frankly.
Yeah.
And yet that's apparently a threadbare squad, according to some people. I'm not worried. And I'm just very happy to see this continue.
I think the one thing that gives me a bit of hope and credit and stuff is the fact that we lost at home. We lost away to Plymouth at their place, which started this run.
Yeah.
And it just kind of got on. And even when and if it does stop, because you've got to think like that, because it does happen at times, I can't see them having an issue of going, oh, well, we've done this, we're going to drop off. I just think it's another game, we move on.
Yeah.
There's a different mentality shift in how they see games.
Exactly.
Like before, we would see games and it'd be inconsistent. One game we do really well, and this season it just seems like the consistency level's up a different standard this year.
Yeah.
And instead of looking at what game coming or who games we just played, we look at it on Monday, we watch it, we're done, that's behind us.
Yeah.
We go on to the next game. There's none of this looking back or checking on other people. We check on ourselves and that's it. But thank you for watching the Talking Wednesday. I hope you all have a good week. It's going to be a busy week for Wednesday. Hopefully by the time we record next one, we're a bit more points ahead as well. But thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.
See you later.